Hello everybody, Michael Tracey here. I apologize if you had been on previous streams that I attempted. I'm having some connectivity problems. Unfortunately, although we are in the United States and in a populous area, and we are the world's leading hegemonic power, it's sometimes sketchy to be able to obtain a reliable internet connection, which is unfortunate. Anyway, I'm just going to ignore the chat going through this video and power through. So there you go. Wanted to give you a brief update as to what I was doing today. I was in Grass Valley, California, which is in the 1st Congressional District of California. That district is among the largest districts in the country in terms of landmass. It's pretty huge. It stretches from just outside the Sacramento area to the Oregon border. And the district is represented by Doug LaMalfa, who is a Republican. And constituents for some time now have been agitating for LaMalfa to hold a town hall meeting. And finally, he relented and held one this past week. I'm sorry, he held one today. What happened this past week, meaning a week ago, is that Duncan Hunter, another Republican from California, finally relented and held a town hall in Ramona, California, in the San Diego area. And what was distinctive about that event, in which I documented at the time, and you can go find the videos from the past few days, is he definitely arbitrarily cut down on the number of people who could attend. So I would say something like 75-80% of people who showed up and waited online for hours to attend that Duncan Hunter town hall last weekend were turned away. And they were turned away because in part, the congressman and his staff selected a small venue that they knew could not accommodate a large quantity of people. And they, even with that smaller venue, they cut down on the number of people who could get in. So initially, 450 people could get into that particular venue. And because of quote unquote security concerns, including terrorism, they knocked that number down to 300. So you can go see those videos. And we spoke to a local sheriff who said, due to concerns about potential terrorism, they had to turn away 150 additional people. Anyway, the point I bring that up because there was an interesting contrast with what happened today in LaMalfa's district. He, I think, commendably selected a venue that was capacious enough that nobody had to be turned away for lack of space. So there was a big turnout, something like 1,500 people was, I think, what the estimate was. Probably even a little more than that, and nobody had to give up and go home because the venue itself was large. I think it was at the Nevada County State Fairgrounds, Nevada County Fairgrounds, something along those lines, and it was this huge barn-like structure. There was a seating area, there was a standing room area, so everybody was able to get in. There was no problem in terms of space, so I think LaMalfa deserves credit for that. I mean, that should just be a basic expectation that events will be held in places where people can actually get in. But many of LaMalfa's colleagues have not followed his example there, so I give him kudos for that narrow accomplishment. So one thing that I've been covering, and people will know this if they've followed my work of late, is the Russia hysteria that's gripping much of the Democratic Party, gripping liberal activists, definitely Democrats in Congress, and huge portions of the media. I am heartened to report that this past meeting, meaning the one that occurred today, did not show excess signs of Russia hysteria for once. There definitely was a concerted effort to make sure that this particular meeting was focused unswervingly on healthcare and climate change issues. So that was the overwhelming focus. That's what most people asked about, bar none. Um, One thing that was a little different about this particular meeting was that signs were not allowed inside. So, um, so those sort of ridiculous Putin, Russia mania signs and placards that I've been seeing as of late were not on display here. But in terms of just, if you go by the metric of what people were asking about during the question and comment portion, there was no Russia and almost all entirely healthcare, meaning pro ACA. There were people who were chanting about single payer and climate change. I noted that people were mostly reading pre-written questions that they seemed to have, sketched out themselves well ahead of time. So there was no kind of extemporaneous ranting, or very little. Anyway, I think there was one woman who asked a sort of zany question having to do with Russia, and we did talk to her. But in the main, it was not something that came up very much, at least going by what people were asking about in terms of the questions and comments. So I think that's notable. Does that indicate a shift away from this topic? I'm not entirely sure about that. I think it just could be an anomaly. And given that this Monday we are going to be witnessing the first public hearing in the House with regard to Russian interference and potential Trump campaign collusion, it's definitely going to remain in the media for at least the foreseeable short-term future. So I tend to doubt that this one particular meeting and the lack of emphasis there should be taken to mean that the issue is being given up on by Democrats, because what's happened is that the idea that Russia is the key to weakening Trump and ultimately removing Trump, I think, has become ingrained in significant portions of the Democratic electorate and the liberal activist base, and of course the political class. So that being said, I wanted to just forthrightly report that I didn't see much of it today, with minimal exceptions. And I think that was, again, my sense is that was concerted. My sense is that the people who were involved in organizing wanted to focus on other topics. And another funny thing that happened is, every town hall meeting I go to, I try to talk to the congressman, him or herself. I've mostly been successful. One Democrat ran away from me, Adam Schiff, in Los Angeles. But I've largely been able to talk to the congressmen at these events. They're open meetings. They're usually willing to talk to the media. But when I approached LaMalfa, prior to my approaching LaMalfa, I encountered his chief of staff, who queried me as to what TYT was, and of course I have to get into a whole explanation about what TYT stands for and blah blah blah. So he said, "No way, you're not talking to the congressman." So he turned me away, and nevertheless I tried, at least tempted to talk to the congressman, and I hope this will be captured on the video that'll be coming out within a day or two. But when I began my question attempt, this chief of staff guy whisked him off away, so I wasn't able to speak to him or interact with him directly. So that was unfortunate. So there you go. We will have a full video package on this event coming out within the next day or two or three, something like that. And just be on the lookout for it. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, trolling, inquiries, etc., always feel free to let me know. With that, I will let you be. Hopefully this audio was okay throughout. If not, nothing I can do about it. Anyway, so long.